Hello and welcome to Talk of the Game. It's a preview of the FA Cup replay between West Ham United and Liverpool. I'm Joe from hammerschat.com. I've got Charlie and Gonzo with me as well. Charlie, let's start with yourself. Myself and Gonzo have done quite a lot of Liverpool previews this season. This is the third one since the turn of the year. But Charlie, what's your thoughts on Liverpool?
I like Klopp a lot. I think that he's probably got quite a tough. I think he would always have a tough time on his hands coming into a club and not being able to completely rebuild from the start because of his high pressing style. It requires a lot of work, a lot of teamwork and effort. But I like him as a manager. I think they're an incredibly up and down team at the moment. They either play really well or really poorly, and defensively they seem a little bit all over the shop. So if we can get at them early, like we have against them in previous games, then I think this game will be ours for the taking. But it does really require an attacking outlook, which is something we haven't seen too much of as of late.
Gonzo, they're sitting below us in the table. Is that a fair reflection of their squad's ability, or should they be doing better? Let's forget history and reputation. Let's look at their season. Let's look at the squad they've got now at their disposal. Is this league position where they should be?
I think it's a fair reflection of the squad's ability, yes, but I don't think it's a fair reflection of the amount of money they've spent. They've not got a lot of bang for their buck, if you like. They've spent a lot of money, but as we've spoken of before, they've received big money for Sterling and for Suarez. I just don't think they've invested it wisely. So they are exactly where they deserve to be.
Charlie, Sturridge and Coutinho may be back. That would give them a front three of Coutinho, Firmino, and Sturridge. Does that front three trouble you a wee bit? It's a front three that I think is probably one of the better in the league, actually, when they're on form, when they're in sync, possibly. It's something we haven't seen this season yet, them three hooking up together when they're playing at the top of their game. Does that worry you, Charlie, or are you quite confident that they're not that good enough?
Yeah, it does worry me to an extent. I think, like you said, when they're all those three players individually, when they're all on form and fit, would scare any team. I think they're all very, very good players. They never seem to be fit and in form together all at the same time, though. And I think if they do all play, I would be worried, but there is also the doubt of whether they could link up properly, whether they know exactly what to do with each other. However, every time Sturridge comes back from an injury, he seems to score in his first game back. So these things are all worries, but I would hope that the link-up play isn't quite there yet to trouble us too much.
Gonzo, let's take away from Liverpool and West Ham a wee second. Obviously, we hope Sturridge has a poor game on Tuesday. However, for the rest of the season, as an Englishman, do you need Sturridge be hitting that form and getting himself a seat on the plane to France?
Listen, I'm no great fan of international football, particularly not the England team. I said, well, I'm patriotic, as you can see from the rugby top. I think England's. That's a whole other show. I think England have got more problems than just if Sturridge is fit or not. I think England lack players of technique. I think if you could probably get Barkley and Wilshere on the pitch at the same time, then it might prove important who's up front. But I just don't think England are good enough to threaten anybody with or without Sturridge, to be honest with you.
Well, before we talk about our own team, there's one thing I want to talk about. At the weekend, Liverpool on the 77th minute, 10,000 of their fans stood up and walked out as a protest to their tickets prices next season. As it's going to be £77. Ticket prices are going up to £77 next year. So 10,000 of them got up and walked out. Charlie, do you say fair play to them, or do you think it's a waste of time, you're not going to really do anything?
Whether it does anything or not is another question, but I 100% support them. I think the amount of people who left was impressive. I heard about the protest going into it. I was skeptical about how many people would actually get up and leave, but they did leave in quite a large number. And I'm in full support. I mean, you know, they were complaining about the £77 tickets and all this other sort of stuff. Like for me, who isn't currently a member or season ticket holder, to go and watch West Ham Man City would have cost £95. And I think it's something that this ticket pricing thing has just got a bit out of hand, and it needs to be sorted in somewhat. And I think, to be honest, as fans, one of the only ways we can do it is by all just getting up and walking out. So I 100% support them, and I was incredibly impressed by just the sheer amount of people who actually did it.
I've noticed a slight flaw in the plan, though, because if the Manchester City ticket was £95, then you'd be walking out on the 95th minute, which probably doesn't have quite the same effect, does it?
Yeah.
Well, fair play to them as well, but I don't think it's going to do anything. I don't think the match day ticket revenue matters that much in comparison to the TV money. And unfortunately, while grounds are selling out, there's obviously demand for the tickets even at that price. Against Man City, it was still sold out at £95. At the end of the day, football is now a business, no longer a sport. Whether that's right or wrong is an argument for another day. Gonzo, after the 10,000 people walked out, Liverpool were winning 2-0 at that point. They then conceded in the 82nd and 89th minute and drew 2-2 against Sunderland. Does that give you confidence going into this game that it just reminds you that they are fragile at the back?
Well, I was sat in the bowels when that result was coming through. I was sat in the bowels of St Mary's Stadium with some rowdy Hammers fans, and we're not a happy bunch that Sam Allardyce's team had come back from 2 goals down, I can tell you. As far as concerns confidence, I was confident anyway. I don't think Liverpool are any great shakes, and particularly not in defence. I mean, I've seen him in the flesh this season as well at West Ham. That's Sacco. If he plays, he's not a mobile unit. I'd like to think that we've got enough players that can get in and around him and cause them plenty of trouble.
Well, now it's time to talk about our own team, West Ham. But before we do that, we'll be back at half-time of the West Ham United Liverpool game to do our live show again, so please do join us. The links will be on our forum at hammerschat.boards.net and client@hugh.info, as well as all our social media. Charlie, we're playing, the winner plays, I say we are playing Blackburn, the winner plays Blackburn in the next round. Does that motivate you more, knowing that we're playing a bottom-half championship side in the 5th round of the FA Cup, 90 minutes away from the quarterfinals? Should that give you even more motivation to beat Liverpool on Tuesday?
To an extent, yeah. But I'm not particularly scared of any team right now. If anything, I'm scared of teams who aren't necessarily up there. I think Blackburn will be. I don't know how close they are to relegation. Full disclosure, but I think if they're relatively safe, then they're probably going to come at us full pace. Did they lose Jordan Rhodes in the end or not? I'm not 100% certain.
Yeah.
That makes me a little bit less scared, but I think we should go for the cup. I think we should go as far as we can in the cup, and the motivation of seeing the next match isn't the toughest should be good, because the further we go, the better it is. I'm one of the people who'd prefer a top 4 finish to an FA Cup, but the further we go, the better it is, and it's always fun to have as many games at Upton Park as possible, and more games means that.
Yeah, well, it could be lazy journalism, but Tompkins and Kouyaté are down as 75% likely to play, which is very coincidental that they both have the same chances. However, Tompkins did limp out of the game against Southampton. Byram is cup tied, so he can't play. Gonzo, does that mean we're going to see Joey O'Brien at right back?
Yeah, I think so. It looks like we'll see Joey O'Brien. Yeah, but that's okay. That's the way it goes. I mean, he limped off right in front of us, and he called for himself. He asked to come off, Tompkins, and normally when you're in that sort of situation, you'll lie down, you try and kill a bit of time. The physios come on, but he actually walked onto the nearest point of the touchline that he could, which meant he had to walk all the way around the outside. So I'll be very surprised if we see him tomorrow.
Well, Bilic did say that Tompkins felt it in the warm-up. He felt a slight muscle injury, but he was fit enough to play. But Bilic seems to think that it's not too big a concern. Anyway, Charlie, is there any changes you'd like to see, apart from the one potential force one, is there any changes you'd like to see from the team that started against Southampton, or in particular Moses and Valencia, because they were the ones that got a lot of criticism from ourselves and from Gonzo and Tom, who were at the game. So is there any changes you would do, Charlie?
I would play and I know I said this last time, I'll play a traditional 4-2-3-1. I'd put Valencia up front, which I know he did have a poor game yesterday, a very poor game, but I think he was also forced out wide a lot. And if you put him in the centre where all he has to do is shoot centrally and header it centrally, then I think he's a decent enough player. I would play him and then put Moses out wide with Antonio out wide, Payet in the centre, Noble and Song, and then Cresswell, Collins, Reed, and Joey O'Brien.
Gonzo, are you the same? I mean, Charlie, to counter that, I don't think Valencia played out wide. He played out wide until Southampton scored. He was central for the rest. He was central for about 70 minutes of the game.
But he kept finding himself out wide because the system we played had the 2 strikers, and then they would fall apart when they needed to, right? Which was the system we played at the beginning of last season. However, you saw it several times yesterday. When he crosses the ball, he's actually managed to find a cross on him, and I don't know where that's come from, but he has. But he kept trying to do shots from weird positions because we couldn't break into their defence. And what I want to see is, I think Valencia has got the potential to be a really potent poacher. And I think that we need to play him more consistently centrally in a role where all he has to do is finish, because he can't control the ball very, very well. And I see him only having to shoot, if you see what I'm saying.
Well, I think you contradict yourself there, because you're saying Valencia has to play centre, and then you just said that he was playing centre but he kept drifting wide. So why, in my opinion, why should Bilic play centre again if he's going to move out wide?
No, it's the system that was forcing him out wide. This is what I'm saying. I know you disagreed with me yesterday, but I still felt like we were playing essentially 5 at the back, which meant there were wing backs coming forward, but that meant that everyone else was central, so the 2 strikers would move apart and then they would move forward, which I realised the hand gestures I'm doing are confusing, but it meant that it meant that Valencia and Moses were sort of metronomically going wide to collect the ball, and the other one would stay centrally. I really feel like he needs to be in a formation which encourages him to stay centrally, and that's what a 4-2-3-1 would do, because there would be enough wide people already. There would be just too many if he's walking out that way.
Well, I think you're wrong. The one man that's been sitting quietly listening to me, you argue, is Gonzo. Gonzo, what's your thoughts on what we've just been arguing about?
I think you get too caught up in tactics, formations, particularly on a day like today. You won't have seen it. You will not have seen it on the pictures. I know what it's like. I've watched games on the telly before, and the weather, and yes, it was raining. It was terrible. I've been going to football for years and years and years. The conditions were terrible yesterday. It wasn't a game. I said this in the other show. It wasn't a game for skill. Okay, so people were out of position. Mane, other skillful players who play, a lot of players who would generally be skillful, it's taken away from them because the ground's so soggy, the wind was wild, the ball was hanging up in the air. What I'm saying to you in a roundabout sort of way is there were lots, regardless of the formation, there were lots of opportunities that Valencia had where he found himself to be central. Many. So whether he started wide, finished wide, started central, it doesn't matter. He had a lot of opportunities as a central striker to impact the game. I'm sorry, his ball control is atrocious. I think we've had our pants pulled down with him for 10, 15 million or whatever it was. I think we'd be lucky to see 5 back. Now, he also goes down very easily and he stays down. He reminds me of, remember Emil Heskey, what he used to do? He almost goes down and looks for the foul and he rolls around, and it drives me mad, but it doesn't drive me quite as mad as Moses. And back to the original question, which was who should play tomorrow. While the striker situation is like it is, maybe we have to persevere with Valencia. We don't have to persevere with Moses. To see Antonio come off and not Moses come off, I'm sick of it. I've had enough. He doesn't fancy it. He's not up for the fight at all. I can see why he's not got a club at all. I'd rather not see him ever play for West Ham again, if that's not sitting on the fence, of course.
But Sacco and Lanzini might be back for the Norwich game. It would be a bit of a surprise if Bilic threw them in really early for the bench against Liverpool. But you guys at home, let us know what you think. We've just had a fight about Moses and Enner Valencia. You are listening. You must be having your own opinion as well. Let us know on the ClantonHugh.info. Whether you're watching on there, you can sign up to his site for free and comment below. Or the big forum, hammerschat.boers.net. Come interact with your fellow West Ham fans and let us know your opinions. We'll be back for the halftime live show. Charlie, Gonzo, I've been Gio. Before we go, I almost forgot. Prediction time. Charlie, prediction.
2-1 West Ham.
Gonzo, prediction.
I think we're going to win 2-0. And just before we sign off, I'll be running a competition soon, which I'll also be running on Claret and Hugh, where we've got some exclusive Dimitri Payet t-shirts, very, very exclusive pictures taken by myself, lovely artwork, and we'll be giving them away for free, and there'll also be a ticket giveaway soon for people that subscribe to this channel.
Well, there you go. Hit the subscribe button as well. There's actually a ticket giveaway for the game we're talking about on ClaretandHugh.info. You'll just have to scroll through his articles and you'll find it. It tells you there how to apply. The winner will be announced at 12 o'clock on Monday, so don't miss out. Anyway, now we're going to disappear. Charlie, Gonzo, Gio, hammerschat.com. Thank you.